Bill C-5 passed in the Canadian Parliament yesterday just before they went on vacation? What gives? Well, actually, you want to know who actually ran the country yesterday? Not the Liberals, not the Bloc, and not the NDP. I mean, really. But it was the Conservatives. Now, yesterday, something rare happened in Ottawa, and I can get why you're probably questioning this already. Bill C-5, the so-called One Canadian Economy Act, passed with full conservative support. What the hell gives? And if you're like me, your jaw probably hit the floor when you initially heard it. Conservatives voting with the Liberals in this political climate? What in the world gives? But don't be fooled, because this isn't a surrender. This is a masterstroke. Because while Mark Carney and the Liberals will try to take a victory lap on this, it was Pierre Poilievre, Andrew Scheer, and Melissa Lantsman's Conservatives who just seized the high ground on trade, infrastructure, and national unity. And they did it in one simple, calculated move. So let's talk about what Bill C-5 really is, what just happened in Parliament, and why the moment might go down as the boldest political play of the year. Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
Welcome to Bakes on Things, and I'm Chris Baker. Let's get into it. Bill C-5 is the kind of legislation we don't see often because it dares to do something big. Part 1 of Bill C-5 eliminates trade barriers within Canada. If something is legal, certified, or licensed in one province, it's now automatically legal in the rest of them. That means a business in BC can sell in Nova Scotia without hitting a wall of pointless red tape. Part 2 creates something called the Building Canada Act. It lets the federal cabinet declare major infrastructure projects, and that could be huge. Those are things like pipelines, highways, ports, all of it to be in the national interest. When that happens, provincial red tape can't stop it. Environmental reviews, well, those are streamlined, and jurisdictional stall tactics, well, those are just simply gone. And here's what most Canadians do not realize. This bill was supposed to be the Liberals' giant win, their nation-building moment, their shot at proving that they're not just talk. But they couldn't get it across the finish line without the help from the party they claim to despise, the Conservatives. And that's where this brilliance actually begins. And it took me a few minutes to put this all together, but now that I have, I think you're going to like this. Here's why Conservatives said yes and why it's absolutely genius. This wasn't the Conservatives giving the Liberals a favor. This was a takeover of the entire narrative. See, Pierre Poilievre and his entire caucus understood something most Canadians have yet to catch on to. This bill is the key to unlocking real growth, everything they campaigned on, real jobs and real national unity. And if they let the Liberals own it, they'd be handing Carney a free campaign commercial in the next election. So instead, they did something more rare. They rose above partisanship. They voted with the bill, not because they suddenly loved the Liberals and all their ideas, but because they saw the bigger picture and how they can work this. Number one, Canada needs pipelines. Let's get it done. Canada needs to move goods, people, and energy faster throughout its own provincial borders. Let's get it done. And Canadians are sick to death of bureaucracy, gridlock, and provincial squabbling, so let's take care of that. By backing C-5, the Conservatives took ownership of the one file that actually moves the economy, and it couldn't have been done without them. So when the next election rolls around, they'll be the ones saying, well, hey guys, it was the Liberals who tabled it, but we got it done, when the Liberals couldn't have done that on their own. Now that's not surrender, that's actual statesmanship. That's looking out for this country. Oh, and by the way, all along, they fixed the flaws too. So let's be clear. The original version of this bill was a mess. It steamrolled Indigenous rights. It gave Cabinet far too much unchecked authority. It lacked any transparency whatsoever. And guess who the party was that got that fixed before it passed? The Conservatives. They worked through committee, pushed for amendments, and demanded that Indigenous communities be consulted, not steamrolled. They didn't grandstand, they just simply asked questions and pushed. They didn't virtue signal, they made it better. And once they made it better, they voted for it. That's called governance. While the NDP and the Greens stood on the sideline the entire time, yelling, no! For the sake of yelling no, conservatives rolled up their sleeves and made a flawed bill into a functional one. One that mostly has their stamp on it now. Now that's leadership. So, what's the big play here? What's the long term strategic ownership that the conservatives see here? Well, here's that 10,000-foot view. The conservatives didn't just support a bill here, they claimed a future, not just for Canadians, but even just selfishly for themselves. And I don't blame them. They positioned themselves as the party of things like national corridors, trade without borders, resource development that respects the environment and gets built, a government that builds things again. And with Parliament now shut down for the summer, guess what the Liberals just walked away from? Any ability to follow through on this bill at all. So, when the projects start to stall, when red tape still snarls pipelines, when provinces push back, it won't be Carney who Canadians turn to. It'll be the Conservatives because the Conservatives fixed the bill because they're the ones who actually showed up, stood tall, and got it passed. So make no mistake here, this was a conservative win, even though it was the Liberals who tabled the bill. It was absolute conservative brilliance. Don't let any of the headlines in the mainstream media fool you. Don't let the liberal spin machine take credit for something they couldn't deliver on their own because they couldn't. They're a minority government. This was Pierre Poilievre, Andrew Scheer, Melissa Landsman, and the others. This was the Conservatives playing 4D chess. They gave Canada something they desperately need and took the credit while they were at it, or they were about to. It was bold. It was magnificent. And it was awesome. And the best part, it reminded the country that real leadership, means knowing when to oppose and when to build. That's the kind of leadership Canadians are craving right now. And there was a big complaint in the campaign that they voted down dental care and other things, but this one they didn't. So maybe they actually do look out for you. So if you're tired of parties that scream that things never get solved, parliament that argues but never builds, remember all of this today. Remember that when it mattered, there was one party that not only adjusted a bill, it had the guts to lead. It wasn't currently in power, and it didn't matter. It was the one preparing to take the power down the road. And that is the big key here. That is the conservative win today. So we sit here, and our government goes on vacation during the crisis of a lifetime. But conservatives proved it can still be about strategy, service, and probably, yes, brilliance. Because when it comes down to it, once this parliament has adjourned, which it already has, nothing else will get done. But the conservatives will say that they not only adjusted this bill, they also voted in favor of it for the better of Canadians. And guess what? The Liberals failed to execute. And the best part is, even if they do start to execute, they'll be executing conservative policy. This was absolute brilliance. Thanks for watching Bakes on Things. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We've got a huge episode about who is actually controlling the Canadian government And you might be really surprised at who we're pushing that narrative on Monday. So we got a big episode for you on Monday morning. But for now, enjoy your Saturday. Please like, subscribe, comment, and we will catch you again Monday morning. Thanks for watching.